Hello everyone, how's it going? This is Alpha Core and welcome to a new F1 2021 My Team Career Mode video. If you're new to this series or haven't seen any of the previous episodes, just be sure to go back and see how we got on. I don't want to give you any spoilers for the series. And I just also want to say thank you for clicking on the video and watching. It's really very much appreciated. So getting into this episode, as you can see there's just a message from Ben, our advisor, who's just telling us because of the engine issue last race, we're going to get an extra 400 R&D points, and here we're just picking an activity, the simulator training, just to get some experience and focus for our second driver and hopefully drive some better results from him. So now we're in the R&D screen and we're going to order a few upgrades. So the first one's going to be the diffuser refined straight positions, which is going to arrive just before the French Grand Prix. So we're going to put that on the car, and also I believe we're going to buy the spark plugs, so we've got a bit of a discount on that. So we're going to put that on the car and give ourselves a little bit more engine power. You can see we're already quite high up there anyway, but again that's going to arrive just after the French Grand Prix and before the Austrian Grand Prix with any luck. So our secondary wing flaps for the front wing have failed, so we're not going to be getting them this race, unfortunately. So we're going to have to redevelop that. As you'll see here, we'll spend a few extra resource points on getting that one developed. It's going to come for definite 100% before the French Grand Prix. But it's not going to arrive for this next Grand Prix, so that's a little bit disappointing because that would have given us a bit of extra front downforce. Just looking at the tyre allocation there, you see a lot of soft tyres, a few mediums, and I thought I'd just have a quick look at this performance chart just so that you see where we are at the moment in the standings. And you can see that we've actually improved quite a lot very early on in the first race between start of the season Bahrain, and then we've kind of been mirroring what Alpine have done. So we're a little bit behind AlphaTauri and Ferrari and Aston Martin, way behind McLaren, but we're kind of level with Alpine at the minute. And there's just a few developments on that last screen there, as you can see. So we're going to fit we're going to fit the old engine from the first engine. We're going to put that in for practice, just because we don't want to put anywhere on the second engine, which is obviously our newer one. I think they've actually done the same amount of races now, but you know, we're just trying to keep the wear. I'm trying to use the first engine for practice and the second engine for the races at the moment. So we've used it for Monaco and we've used it for Baku, and I'm just trying to keep the engine wear off the second engine and use the first engine for practice. As you can see there from our second practice results, we actually finished in third place, but I was obviously expecting the other guys, the faster guys up front, to turn their engines up and get a little bit more competitive as the qualifying went on. So I didn't expect to be sat there in third place at the end of this. So at the end of practice 2, we just changed the engine out again, put the second engine back in because qualifying 3 is going to be wet. The race isn't going to be wet. We've already done our practice programs, so there's no point in us kind of doing that. Practice 3, as you can see there's all our resource points that we earn from the practice sessions. And also it's going to show us all the development boosts that we got there, the discounts that we're going to get off parts. So it's well worth doing the practice programs just to get these discounts, because it's going to save you a lot of resource points, especially if you have to do the thing again. So like if they fail, and you've already spent a whole load of resource points, it'll save you a little bit just for doing these practice programs. There's a lot of discounts there, so it's going to reduce the price of things quite a lot for us, which is pretty good. So I think it's just going to then go on to see the team acclaim and our claim for us and our teammate. We're catching up to our teammate now, so he's level 6 and we're level 5. But we're very close. We're on level 7 now of Team Acclaim, so hopefully soon we'll be able to get a sponsorship, another sponsor on the car. And now we're just going to go to qualifying, so a few shots of the circuit. It's going to show us in the garage in a moment, and then we're going to get onto the end of our first qualifying lap, which you'll see just coming up shortly. So coming into the final chicane, obviously the very famous Wall of Champions is coming up. Sebastian Vettel sets the fastest time. We just ride those curves and we head towards the line, and it's going to be a 1 minute 8.056, which is slightly faster than our practice 2 time, which is good enough at the moment for second place. It's going to be good enough to get us through Q1, as you can see. It's well more than good enough. We actually go through in 10th place. Our teammate, unfortunately, a second a lap down on us there, so he does a 1 minute 9, and he's been knocked out along with Kimi, Antonio, and Nicholas Latifi and a couple of others. So unfortunately, we've lost our teammate in Q1. So we're on to Q2 now, and we're heading into our fastest lap of the session. As you see, we haven't set a lap at the moment. I think our fastest lap was early on in the session. We didn't go out later on, so we did. We've actually got a car in front of us, as you can see. We've got Sergio Perez on the track in front of us, so he's given us a little bit of dirty air, but he's also giving us a bit of slipstream, which is really good. There's also another car in front of him. I'm not sure who that is, but we're coming into the middle sector now. So first sector's down. Sergio gets out of the way. We're heading towards the fast right-left chicane coming up after the bridge. So flick the car right, flick the car left, be careful on traction as you come out of that corner. Down a short straight now towards the hairpin that's got the grandstand overlooking it, and then onto the back straight, which leads onto the final chicane and World Champions. You can see there's an AlphaTauri ahead of us. We get through that chicane, sorry, that hairpin, and it was a little bit of a wobbly moment, but DRS is now open. As we head down this straight, just a little bit of a time to relax as we come towards the chicane. And now just flick the car in. Don't take too much of the left-hand curve because that'll spin you out. You can also, you've got to be a little bit careful on the right-hand curve as well. But as you head towards the line, it's a 107.975, so I think about half a tenth of an improvement on the previous qualifying session, which is good enough to get us through to Q2. You can see we've lost Yuki Tsunoda, Sebastian Vettel, Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso, and a couple of others. Lando Norris was actually fastest in that session, so the McLarens are again going well. See Esteban Ocon and Mick Schumacher were the last two that got out of that session. So heading into the Q3 lap, as you can see, we've already done a lap that was 1 minute 7.935, and again we've got a Red Bull in front of us, unfortunately. You can see through the first actual two corners we're a little bit up, then we lose all that time for these next two corners and lose about a tenth and a half, so we must have gone really quick on the previous lap. But as we come through this middle sector, I decided to continue the lap, obviously because it's our last effort, and we've got to kind of just do what we can. So heading towards the bridge, I think it's a little bit scruffy as well. We do actually touch the barrier there. Fortunately, no damage. So flying through those corners, you can see the delta is actually going to turn green very shortly. As we head down towards the hairpin middle sector, it's the first two sectors are 40.295. Just as we come out of that hairpin, it went green for a second, but then it's gone back to red. So we're still down. We're down by 0.039 now, and it's going even more red. So heading down the straight, we're going to have to go really send it through this final chicane, and we do a lot better than the previous lap. We do clip the wall again a little bit, so again, like I said, scruffy, but we're nearly a 10th up. And as we cross the line, we've improved by just over a tenth, which has actually put us into 8th place ahead of Sainz. I don't think it's improved us in positions, but we're ahead of Sainz and Gasly. I don't think we would have been able to get the 107.7 to get to catch Charles, but again, it seems to be like for the last couple of races our battle is with the AlphaTauris and the Ferraris. Obviously in Baku, one of the Ferraris at least had a huge stroke of luck with our engine problem, which allowed them to just beat us to the line. So we want to put that right in this race and try and beat the Ferraris. We obviously beat them in Monaco, so to be losing to them in Baku was a little bit of a step backwards. So we want to put that right here. That was just our rivalry with Alonso, and obviously some team acclaim here for our team and both drivers.
I think we can call that a successful qualifying.
Again, I would definitely agree with the engineer. I've said this for the last two races. It's been a really successful qualifying to get us into the top 10. To be that high, I don't think we could go any further. And yeah, we've done a really good job, I think. Our teammate obviously is the comparison there. You see there we just bought another upgrade for the engine. I think that was for the engine wear, so that should be on the car in the coming races. And here we are on race day, so I'll let the introduction run for a little bit and then I'll get back to you.
Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. If you want flat-out racing, you've come to the right place this weekend, as it's full throttle for 59% of this 2.7-mile circuit, peaking at around 210 miles per hour going into the final chicane. But that speed requires discipline, and there are more than a few close walls here just waiting to punish drivers with a heavy right foot. It's race day yet again, and joining me for a chat, Anthony Davidson. And our racers are certainly in for a rough day today. What will you be watching for as they go down into turn one?
Well, the start of the race is always one of the most nerve-wracking parts. You have to hope that everyone is able to get off to a clean start, and this is possibly the trickiest part of the entire race. So many drivers in such a small space, and finding your braking point into turn one as well. It's a testament to the driver's skill that there aren't more incidents.
It's time to take a look.
So as they run through the starting grid, I just want to say about this race, it was a little bit of a slow burner. It was all about strategy, and yeah, it wasn't the most exciting Canadian Grand Prix that I've been involved in, but it's definitely worth sticking with until the very end, because that's when things kind of did kick off. And it's like I said, we've got to put things right from Baku. We can't be finishing behind Ferrari again. We made good gains in Monaco. Obviously, some of our upgrades have failed, so we haven't moved forward. We're a little bit behind the Ferraris, the Alpha Tauris in terms of outright performance, but we've been showing it on the track in a different way, so we've been able to kind of keep up with the guys in front of us. So when these upgrades come to our car and we actually get improved, I can see us fighting for like the top 5 positions.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
Yeah, let's do it, engineer. Let's make sure we get some more points in this race. So you can see strategy-wise, I did put a bit of extra fuel in the car because I was a bit worried about the fuel consumption. But as the race goes on, you'll see it's not really an issue. So maybe next time, in hindsight, I probably would have put less fuel in. Strategy is going to be the soft tyres and the mediums. So that's the quickest strategy by the look of it. Again, the soft tyres for me, like in Baku, I don't know what it is, but they were absolutely rubbish in the first stint. So I was glad to get rid of them. I don't know what it is. It must be like to do with as the traction falls away so quickly with our car. They're not any good for us. But once we get onto those medium tyres, we seem to have a much better pace. That's just the setup I'm running through there, as you can see. So obviously, if you want to stop the screen and just pick that setup up and try it, but it was pretty competitive. So 3 lights, 4 lights and 5 lights, and we're about to go. We get a decent start, get a nice pull away from Leclerc, just behind Perez, but second phase, Leclerc gets quite a good traction, so Gasly shoots up the inside, and we're battling with Leclerc at the minute. We don't want to lose too many positions, but we might have to give it up to Leclerc in the first couple of corners. As you can see, he gets the position from us, and Gasly's got there, so we've actually dropped to P9. Gasly made an absolute rocket start, so we'll stick with it. We're going to stick on board for the first lap, and then we're going to have a look at the start, because it was very interesting. We got a little bit aggressive there and took the position off Leclerc, so we didn't want to lose too many positions at the start, so we took that position straight back. As you can see, there's a little bit of a gap to Gasly forming, and there's a train behind us at the moment, so it was a very feisty first lap, to be honest. We lost a position, then we got one back, and Tsunoda's actually taken a position off Leclerc as well, so very close. Tsunoda's within a tenth of us, so we didn't actually want to make the move on Gasly there, but because he was so slow and into that corner and we braked so late, we ended up have to jinx the right and take the position. So we're actually up to 7th place, and the 2 Ferraris that we still were starting around us, they have dropped positions, so that's actually quite good for us, because I think in terms of pace, like I said before, we've got the pace on the Alpha Tauris, so now it's just a case of trying to stick with Perez in front of us, which may not last for very long, but we're going to try. So like I said, we're going to have a look at the start again, and look at that McLaren. So Norris absolutely rockets away from the I think it was 3rd place on the grid, was it? And he's into the lead. You can see a bit argy-bargy with Verstappen and Hamilton. So Norris absolutely flying off the start and takes the lead. So this is his view, and just look at this, absolutely nails it. And Hamilton on the soft tyres, on the medium tyres, has no answer for that one. Neither is Valtteri, but Valtteri's on the red stripe tyres, and he just gets absolutely blasted by Lando Norris, who's now in the lead of the race. So we're going to have a look at some other things on this onboard. So here's Verstappen's view. So Verstappen, again on the same side of the grid as Norris and Hamilton, must be a bit more grip there. So Verstappen shoots up to 2nd place and actually makes contact with Hamilton, and there's a bit of seconds going on here. As you can see, he doesn't give up. Going to the next turn, he tries to make the move on Hamilton. Hamilton does fight back and squeezes him a little bit. It's all very fair at the moment, apart from that first corner with a bit of contact. And Verstappen still hasn't given up, and he's trying to squeeze at the inside, but Hamilton again shuts the door, just tightens the corner for Verstappen, and that's about it. He's managed to hold on to the position. So back to our onboard, you can see Lewis Hamilton has set a fastest lap. There's now a yellow flag. We're pulling away from Gasly a little bit, but there's been a yellow flag. We're holding on to Perez, and I think the yellow flag is going to be for Fernando Alonso retiring. So our championship rival, our rival that we've chosen, he's retired out of the session on lap number 3. So Fernando's not going to get any points this race, and here we are. It looks like an engine failure. As he comes down the straight, a big plume of white smoke coming out the back of the car. Everyone having to drive around him as he pulls off the side of the track in turn 1. And that's it for Fernando. That's his race over. So on to lap number 3. Yellow flags are still out. We're about to set a purple final sector. We're actually only 3 tenths off Verstappen's time, so you can see there Alonso's causing the yellow flag by being parked over there. We're actually still hanging on to Perez onto lap 4. and we're pulling away a little bit from Gasly, but a couple of laps later, as you can see, Perez has pulled away a little bit. That Red Bull is just too fast for us, and we've got a little bit of a train forming behind us because these tyres just aren't working for us at the moment. So the engineer is going to tell us now, I think, that the tyre wear is not too bad as we come through here.
For now. Keep taking care of them.
So yeah, we're on to lap 12. You can see Perez was 6 seconds ahead, now 7 seconds ahead.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the mediums.
And we're coming up to the pit window, which is absolutely brilliant news. We were supposed to go to lap 16, but I just didn't want to wait any longer. I wanted to get the undercut on these guys and get away from this train. So that was my thinking. A 2.1 second pit stop there, very quick. So I wanted to get away from the train because they were basically just DRS training me. So I was using so much ERS trying to keep ahead of them. So our pit stop was good. You can see we got out just ahead of Schumacher there, and our teammates now pitting in. But because of our early pit stop, we're going to get a little bit of an undercut on these guys, so they won't be getting our DRS anymore, which is absolutely great. So you can see Gasly's 1.8 behind, so he's no longer got DRS. Same with the Ferraris, and we're also the Perez is edging away. We've actually closed onto him. Remember, we were 7 seconds behind him. He's now only 3.2 ahead of us because of the undercut. But yeah, we're dropping Gasly by 3 tenths a lap, and you see 5 or 6 laps later the same thing is repeated to us through the radio. Another 3 tenths a lap there, so he's now 3 seconds behind. Hamilton's actually ahead of us. He's pulling away from us at the moment. Perez is back up to 8 seconds.
43.7 seconds.
So we're on lap 33, and the gap to our teammate there, as you heard, was 43 seconds already.
Be careful, we think you're going to start losing some tyre grip around now.
So a little bit of tyre concern for the engineer there on lap 37. Lap 40, a little bit of a wobble there as you saw coming for the first turn. Yellow flag is because Mick Schumacher, it looks like, has gone off the track. You can see him just as we come up behind him now. Yellow flag, he's had a little bit of a moment, so we're going to go sneaking up the inside of him. Lose a bit of time in the process though. We were actually keeping Sainz at arm's length at this point in time. I was really quite confident we could keep the Ferraris behind, but I knew there was going to be a moment towards the end of this race where those guys behind us would start catching up. As you can see, we could pass the pit lane. Hamilton just pops out in front of us. We're not in his race at all, so we've got no chance of keeping up with him. Lap 43, we're pitting in for the second time in this race, a 1.8 second pit stop, a very, very quick pit stop. You can see Gasly's way back, so he's not going to be really an issue as we come out of the pit lane. Sainz pitting in at the same time as us, so Sainz is going to have exactly the same tyre life as us at the moment. So you can see we're coming up to back markers, and they do cost us a little bit of time because they don't get out of the way straight away, but Russell does get out of the way. But you can see how quick he is in a straight line, even when he's backing off. The AI is so fast, especially we've got DRS. So I think Mazepin maybe gives us DRS as well. So yeah, Mazepin wasn't so much of a problem. We went flying past him. The gap to Sainz has dropped a little bit as we try and pass these back markers. Perez is 7.4 ahead. I mean, in terms of pace in this second half of the race, whilst on the second set of tyres, after the second pit stop, the third set of tyres, we were very much matching Perez, as you can see.
In front, but we need to look after the tyres. We won't be making another pit stop.
So I was quite confident we could keep the Ferraris at arm's length, but you can see we've dropped about a second to Perez, a second to Sainz, and this is where the problems start for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show us an off-board camera shot from lap 63. It's going to show the off-board camera and also the view of Leclerc and myself. So I'm on the left, Leclerc's on the right, and you're going to see how all this unfolds. I thought it would be quite an interesting view of the race to see it this way. You get to see all the angles of it, and you can see at the moment we're approaching the back of the Alfa Romeos.
9.0 seconds.
So you see, I've left the radio messages in there, so you can hear the updates of where we're at. So we're still
back by about 3/10 a lap.
So we're only 9 seconds behind Perez still, and we're dropping Leclerc at this point by 3/10 a lap. So we've got the edge on him. But as we come up behind the Alfa Romeos, it all changes a little bit. So these guys in the Ferraris were about 2.5 seconds behind us. We passed Raikkonen, very, very difficult because he didn't back off very much, and we're now very low on ERS, and he's actually going to get DRS on us. So he doesn't give up the fight very easily. You can see it actually starts costing us time because he's entitled to take his position back if he's got more pace than us, but it's just the position he's in. He's actually managed to get DRS from us, and we couldn't get DRS from Giovinazzi because Raikkonen took so long to get out of the way. So we've not got the benefit of that, and you can see he's actually attacking us. And while this is happening, the Ferraris are edging closer and closer. So coming onto this main straight again, we don't have DRS. Raikkonen has DRS, and he's actually going to give it a go. And we bang wheels. You'll see on the footage there. We bang wheels. He slams it the side of us a little bit. So we're just ahead of him, and it's gonna end soon because we've got more pace in the middle sector. But he's clinging onto the back of us using our slipstream, and you can just see how close Leclerc's getting because he's got all the benefit, a grandstand position of watching this fight from back where he is, and he's closed up from 2.5 seconds to a lot closer now. He's actually going to get the benefit of DRS from Raikkonen, and Raikkonen's just going to get out of the way. Thank you very much, Ferrari engine team orders. So he gets out of the way, and we still don't have DRS at this point. We're just trying to catch up to the back of Giovinazzi now that we've stopped battling Raikkonen. And you see we're still lapping at quite a good pace. It's just the fact we've lost a bit more time, and soon enough Leclerc's going to get DRS on us. So we still don't have DRS on Giovinazzi. We're still not close enough. Coming into the final chicane, we might just get on the back of him enough to get DRS this lap. So still no DRS, obviously, because DRS detection point's back at the hairpin.
Strong, but be aware your tyres need to go the distance. Yellow flag.
So you can just see how close Leclerc is at the moment. There's a yellow flag for something, I don't know what it's for. But we're just struggling now to actually catch up to Giovinazzi. I don't know if it's dirty air or what, but we're just struggling. You can see our teammates actually managing to keep him behind as well. So we're about to lap our teammate. Finally Giovinazzi gets out of the way, and we get DRS, so that's great. So we've got a bit of DRS. And now the next move is going to be on our teammate. I don't think Giovinazzi puts up as much of a fight as Raikkonen, but you can see he's not giving up. He does start to come back at us.
10.1 seconds.
We're just so low on ERS. It's something that we're going to need to work on in the next few races and try and get some upgrades on the ERS system. But we're a little bit further ahead of Giovinazzi than Raikkonen. And again, Giovinazzi just jumps out of the way for Leclerc. In all of this, Carlos Sainz has actually retired. That's what the yellow flag was for, I think. So we'll see that at the very end in all this melee of what happened when Carlos Sainz actually retires and just drops back off the back of the Ferraris. So you can see we're both clear now of the Alfa Romeos. It's just my teammate in the way who's not doing us very many favours by just sitting in front of us and giving us dirty air. I think he does give us some DRS though, so that's a little bit of help. But now it's just, as we close down the last few laps, it's just a case of trying to keep Leclerc out of our DRS, and I think he's going to get it anyway, no matter what we do. We're trying very, very hard to keep him out of it, but you know, he's just turned his engine up and he's really going for it. So obviously, remember the last race in Baku, Carlos Sainz was the one that finished just ahead of us, and Leclerc was a bit down the road. So those Ferraris are still slightly quicker than us on performance, but we're putting up a good fight against them in this championship so far. So how this race ends, we need to stay ahead of this Ferrari. I'm not going to do a whole 70 lap race and then just let this Ferrari walk all over us and take the position, especially because of traffic. So you can see he's now got DRS, and this is literally going to be, the elbows are going to come out. There's going to be razor blades on the elbows, as Martin Brundle said, from Max Verstappen. We're going to be doing the same sort of thing. So he's not quite on the back of us yet, but he's going to be. It's only a matter of time, because you see our red light is flashing. We've got absolutely no ERS left. We're just trying to save a little bit. I think we're between like 10 and 20%, maybe less. But I think the highest we probably got was, like, see a little wobble there. We are pushing so hard to stay ahead of Leclerc at the moment on these worn tyres. So lap 43, so we're now on like 20 plus lap old medium tyres, with Leclerc also on the same.
Just focus on the driving.
Leclerc on the same sort of tyres. Our engineer telling us there's no tyre concerns, but we are pushing them very, very hard. You see as he comes out the hairpin, very, very close to us now. And he's going to have DRS on the back straight and DRS on the main straight. His red light's not coming on yet, so he's got plenty of ERS to fight us with. And we come through the final chicane, just staying out the wall of champions. He's all over the back of us. It's going to get feisty into turn one. He goes up the inside. We're heading into turn 1. We're going to fight this one, so we hold it around the outside, which then becomes the inside. Give it a boot full of throttle as we come out. You see the back end, those elbows are well and truly out. We're trying to fight back. You see defending all over the track. He goes for it again, has to back out of it, which is going to hold him off for a little while longer because it's going to slow him down for the next section. So there's not many laps left to go. I think we're on the penultimate lap at the moment, just fighting for our lives to try and hold on to 7th place. Our teammate is watching just behind. It would be nice if he could get a bit of DRS and push Leclerc and give us a bit of help here, but he's not going to do it because Leclerc's just too quick for the middle sector for him. So coming down to the hairpin again.
11.5 seconds.
I think there's one more lap to go after this, so we're on lap 69 at the moment. Again, a bit of wheel spin as we push the throttle to get out of that corner and try and get the traction down. Heading down the back straight. Leclerc with DRS again, us without any energy. He's going to be all over us come turn 1, so there's going to have to be another strong defensive position to hold him off. And he's coming for us again into turn 1. He's not quite close enough, so he has to give up. He has to give up, and I think he's going to try and... He's trying to go on the outside, so we're going to shut the door on him and say, no way, Charles, you're not going that way, which has now made our teammate a little bit interested, so he's now catching up to him a little bit, which is, again, great stuff. So it's just putting that little bit of extra pressure on Leclerc. On to the final lap. We've got Leclerc literally probably 2 or 3 attempts behind us as we come onto another DRS straight. And again, deploying all the energy to defend our position. The red light's going to start flashing any second now on the back of our car. He has to sit behind us through these for this single file set of corners, but he's going to be right on the back of us come the hairpin. As we come into the braking zone, Leclerc tries to go on the outside. You can see just trying to squeeze around the outside. We have to give him space. It has to be fair. And you can see we've lost the position to him. We're right behind him right now. We're basically pushing him along the straight. He's got his DRS open. We've both got our lights flashing. It's going to be so close. It's coming to the final corner. And we're not going to give it up. We're going to make that dive bomb and push him across the track. And it's going to be P7. It's going to be P7 ahead of the Ferrari.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
It was so intense those last few laps. I was fighting for my life to stay ahead of that Ferrari. I just thought even with us trying to move across the track, he was going to get through. We had nothing left to defend with, and there's the retirement of Carlos Sainz, just to confirm another engine failure, as you can see there, and that's him out of the race. So in all that, Lewis Hamilton won the race. You see Mercedes won. I think Valtteri was second and maybe Max Verstappen. No, was it Max Verstappen? Oh well, we'll see the podium in a second. I can't even remember who finished on the podium at this point in time. So we'll see that very shortly anyway.
All of these things right today, and the results speak for themselves.
So here we go. It was Lewis, Valtteri and Lando. Lando got 3rd place, so that rocket start from Lando actually paid off, and he managed to keep the 3rd position for Ferrari. For McLaren. So a great result for McLaren, and ahead of the Red Bull. So the McLarens have got a really strong showing this season so far. So it's great. I mean, Lando might be able to nick a win later on in the season, hopefully. That's if we don't get one first. So you see 36 seconds behind the leader, so again another good race, probably about half a second a lap slower than the guys at the front. We just didn't have that extra little bit of pace to catch Sergio, but we had enough to hold Charles Leclerc off. You see 11 seconds over the Alpha Tauris. So Nobuharu got driver of the day actually, so our teammate got driver of the day. His fastest lap was only two tenths slower than ours, but we did lap him, so he was way behind us. So we're going to have a look at the drivers and the constructors standings. You can see Valtteri's still top, Lewis is actually up to 3rd, and Lando Norris is up to 6th place. Was that? We're in 9th place, 21 points. Obviously, if you want to see these standings, just pause the video and have a look. We're actually still in 6th place, 21 points. Mercedes lead the Constructors' Championship. And here's our rivalry with Fernando. As you can see, because he didn't finish the race, he actually it's been a big advantage to us. We're actually 18-7 ahead. Another 1,200 acclaim for us there, so a big step forward in that rivalry. Team acclaim for us again, and obviously acclaim for us and Nobuharu. But yeah, if you enjoyed this race, be sure to drop a like on it. It really does help me out. And obviously, if you're new to the channel, just subscribe if you're new. I hope to see you soon in the next video. It won't be very long till I get that one out. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.